Let's get off mute first, huh? Live Friday, Falls Friday night, week 10 edition. I'm Jonathan Hull, sports writer, Times Record News. Zach Duncan of Red River Roundup alongside me. We will have Nolan Clark joining us later. He went out. He's the one liking to travel these days, right? He's young. He can handle that. But he's out there. Uh, went to Springtown tonight and got treated like a prince out there. I'm sure. Little tongue in cheek, little tongue in cheek. Zach, that's an inside joke, I guess, for me and Zach. But um, yeah, hey, another very eventful. We're down here into that back stretch, right, of the high school football season, Zach, and you didn't go to a game tonight. You decided to take your daughter trick or treating, being the what a dad, what a guy. But you did get to watch some stuff on live stream and whatnot, including that Henrietta Holiday game. I know you were tuned into that quite a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of games kind of went how we expected them to go tonight, but the one game that kind of surprised everybody, I even got a couple of calls and texts from it. Like, is this score real? I'm like, yeah, it's real. Was Henrietta beating Holiday? I believe it was 55-34. Henrietta ran the ball really well. I saw Cruz Coleman get a bunch of chunk. Holiday defense did not play as good as it played last week, I feel like, against City View. I thought they did pretty well against City View, actually holding them to 29, and one of those was a punt return touchdown. But also Landon Jones didn't play. I guess that was kind of something that they were keeping under wraps. Sounds like he got hurt on that last play of the game against City View last week. So that obviously, not only is he their quarterback, but he's also one of their best defenders at safety. So I'm sure that didn't help. But yeah, huge win. We'll double check when we have Coach Jones on here in a little bit, but I don't think it quite gets them in the playoffs. But they're pretty good spot if they can beat Millsap next week. They can get third place in that district, and maybe go on a playoff run. So that was a big result. Memorial, huge win on the road. They control their own destiny, and they knew that, and they still have to beat Legacy now. But going on the road, Joe Castle's not playing. Cole Burke had the starting quarterback at Memorial. Had a solid game, and he was playing on the same field where a year ago he broke his leg. Same
Yeah.
field, same day, a year later. Wild situation there. So big win for Memorial. Burke also gets their first win of the season. And I mean, if they beat Mirror Wells next week, they're in the playoffs. So a big win for Burke. I think most of us thought that they'd been playing better than Bridgeport and could do that, but they were able to pull away from there. So yeah, it wasn't like a bunch of crazy finishes tonight, but I think the Holiday Henrietta game really stands out, and then a lot of teams kind of took care of business like we thought they would.
Yeah, it definitely did. Memorial going over to Plainview, man, it's a tough trip. It's a tough drive. And to show up against that Plainview squad, to hold that Plainview offense like they did. I mean, Plainview had 8 points going to the fourth quarter. The game was well in hand whenever they got their last two TDs. You mentioned Burkhead, 10 of 16 for 190 something yards, three touchdowns, no interceptions. Really helped by the run game tonight. Two-headed monster back there, Eric Powell, Gage Wethridge. They combined for 283 yards. Powell had one more yard than Wethridge. I mean, a truly balanced two-headed monster there at running back. And so, yeah, just like you mentioned, a great result. But I really do, man. The result of the night, it's Henrietta beating Holiday that had such an effect across that district. And we're going to have two guests tonight. One who was part of that game, part of the win side of that. The other one who actually really benefited from that outcome too, and Coach Hubble from Jacksboro. But we're going to start here right now uh, with Coach Jones from Henrietta. I'm going to give him a minute because I don't see him on camera quite yet in our backstage. But I mean, what a win with. I really thought going into this, and I said it in my preview. I mean, I think I said it during the halftime show that we did on Henrietta's broadcast that I'd like Henrietta's matchup with Holiday. I really think they match up well with them, and I mean, it kind of proved. I'm not going to say like I'm a genius or something, but there was something to be said for that, and it. I mean, yeah, obviously it worked out. I thought that was just a better matchup for them than Jacksport City View, and and there it played out. I'm gonna see if we can at least Here, Coach Jones, I can't. He may not be.
He's in lag central there. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like. Coach, if you can hear us, you might try to close the stream and reopen it. I'm not getting your video to load quite yet, so um, pull him off of there and see. I might shoot him a text here in a minute.
Hey,
Um,
a couple other things that kind of surprised me a little bit tonight. Our Park Vernon was low scoring and close the whole way. I think Vernon ended up pulling away a little bit, 28-14. That's an IP team that didn't have a district win, had been eliminated from the playoffs, but obviously they're still playing hard. Monday with a big win over Seymour. The Moguls eliminated from the playoffs, and then Ponder almost beat Paradise 20-14. Um, I would have thought Paradise could have, maybe scored a little more, pulled away from there. So what we're seeing is a lot of teams that maybe don't have a lot to play for, and obviously Ponder had a lot to play for, but teams that are still going hard, and you gotta like to see that this time of year from teams that maybe like in Archer City tonight. I know that Petrolia Archer City score was 50-24, but that was a close game. I think it was
yeah,
28-24 mid third or something like that. And obviously, Petrolia is playing for district title next week, in Archer City, is trying to avoid being, one of those last couple spots. So we had a lot of, I think, tough games tonight from the standpoint of on paper, you kind of feel like one team's got all the reasons to win, and some teams made it close. Did we find Coach Jones?
I think we did. I think we
I
did.
think
Here we
so.
go.
You got me.
Yes, sir. We got you. Did you
All
are
right.
you are you at the school right now? Did you have to get outside of the building?
Yeah, yeah. I had to get out of the school to get on my. Just sit in my truck, turn the Wi-Fi off. So we're
Yeah,
rolling now.
but I understand because I don't know how many times I've talked to a Henrietta coach over the years, and
Oh,
they're in the building and cannot get anything from them.
nothing. Yeah, it's a little rough at times, but I'm good now.
Well, coach, congrats on the win. That's a big one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really felt like you guys matched up well with Holiday, and the rivalry aspect of it obviously is there too. Just man, how did you guys pull this one out tonight?
Well, I just think our kids did a great job of just pulling together. That was one thing we talked about is playing as one, and I felt like we did that for most of the night, and just like when something would happen, we would have people, encouraging and building each other up and just having each other's back. And I thought that was a huge part of it.
Coach, I was watching your game a little bit on and off, but I missed some key stuff there. But I saw at the
Sorry,
end of the first.
No, you're good, coach.
there you go.
Um, I was watching your game, and it seemed like a key part. It was into the first half. It was 27-14, and they got the ball inside your 5, and you got to stop. And then I don't know what happened the start of the second half, but y'all scored 2 touchdowns real quickly. How
Mhm.
big was that sequence? Because it looked like it was going to be maybe a 1-score game, and next thing you know, it's like a 3 or 4-score game.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought our defense did a great job, and just I thought it was big. Just that when they got down there inside the 5, it was rough, and our kids just battled back, and they had a bad snap, which I mean, that stuff happens sometimes, and so it put them a little bit longer off, and then we got able to hold them, so it was huge for us. Um, and then coming out at halftime, we got the ball back and went down and scored, and then got a turnover and did it again. So it was just one of those deals where we just really tried to focus on. Again, we can only control so much, and so we talk to our kids all the time. Is just like control what you can control. That's your effort, your attitude. Staying positive, working together. And so I thought that's what we did.
I'm kind of curious too, and you talk about control what you can control. You couldn't control this, but Landon Jones didn't play today for Holiday, from what I understood. When did
Yeah,
did you know? Did you know he was hurt? I know your towns aren't too far away. There's probably some talk,
yeah,
but I
uh,
I, I didn't know he wasn't going to play. So had you hear? And obviously you're preparing for him, but kind of
yeah.
take me through that.
Well, and he's really good, and that's why I told him tonight after the game, man, he's impressive, and so really I didn't hear much all week and really till today, and just kids start talking and just saying that they had heard that wasn't playing, and he came in and tried to play a little bit, but obviously his ankle was really bothering him. So, but I just I encouraged him because, man, he tried to get out there and grind out. It's just tough.
Yeah, and obviously that changes the game, but I mean, all you can do is go out there and compete with what you did.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
doesn't take away from what you did offensively. And of course, we talk about Cruz Coleman so much, and I can only
Yeah.
imagine the kind of game he had tonight. But
Yeah.
what worked for you guys offensively, assuming Cruz, and then what else?
Yeah. I thought that, early, we were able to get it, find a rhythm on some stuff that we could throw or pass. It was kind of some option stuff that we were running, early. And then, really just, we moved the tight end around a little bit, and we just said, hey, we're gonna, we hang our hat, on some run schemes that we believe in. And so, we just kept trying to find ways to be able to get numbers. That's the big thing is trying to get numbers for it. And so, we had to do some different stuff, but I thought our kids did a great job, and we had a couple big plays for us. I mean, I thought Shaden played really well tonight. Cooper G had a big touchdown. I think I can't remember if it was the third quarter. It all runs together now, but it was a group effort. It was everybody. Cruz is Cruz, and he's gonna. He did a great job of just gutting out some runs, but our line did a great job. We had to do some mix up with some O linemen. We moved Isaiah to right guard this week, and so we had a little bit of injury, but we should be back to full force. But I thought our kids did a great job of just rallying together. I felt like that was a big thing for me. Is it was like the whole game felt like, those our kids just bought in, and just like,
Yeah.
hey, whatever it takes, we're gonna do it together. And so, they were encouraging each other, they were encouraging me, so it was awesome. I love it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I like to always look at these playoff scenarios. You're not in only because there's this sequence where if you beat Millsap next week, you're gonna get third place. It's gonna be
Yes.
Jacksboro, City View, and then y'all.
Yes.
If you lose to Millsap and Holiday beats Jacksboro, there's still a potential for a three-way tie. At two and or if they lose to Jacksboro, I'm sorry, there's still a three-way tie at 2 and 3, but y'all are
Yeah.
sitting pretty good in that situation because you maxed out Holiday. So even obviously you want to beat Millsap and get third, but even
Yeah.
a close loss, like a 2-point loss to Millsap, could get you third place. Am I looking at that right? Is that what you've looked at?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it came down to us having to beat Millsap. So that's the way I look at it. Is for us, I'll have to look at those other scenarios. I didn't even think about all that other stuff. We were just thinking about, that's what we talk about. We can control what we can control. And so for us, it's just winning. We just got to find a way to beat Millsap, and they're scrappy and they're going to work, they're going to play hard. And so we just got to show up and have another great week. I thought we had a really good week of practice, which obviously when you do those, you do a good job of having a good practice, you end up playing better. And so I thought that was one of our benefits we had tonight, was that our kids, we had a good week. So
your guys too, they ended y'all's playoff streak last year on your home field. They ended your chance
Yep.
at making the playoffs. I'm sure your
Yep.
guys have been licking their chops, getting ready for this game this time around.
And I think it's here's what's tough is like we don't once we get into the district, it gets really tough. We play Valley View first, and then we go back to City View, Jacksboro, Holiday. So we can't look forward to anything because all those teams are really, really good. And so, I'm gonna look at them this weekend and see what they look like and prepare for them. So
I got to say
our kids are hungry.
Go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
our kids are hungry for it. I think our kids want it, and this is a super big win. And so hopefully we can just build on it.
I got to say the lighting situation actually kind of works. It's a Halloween night, so
I guess so, right?
it looks like you're, when the light goes down. Yeah, it looks like you're getting ready to tell a ghost story or something.
Yeah, I know,
So,
I know. I know.
Well, good for you. You were the ghost story for holiday football tonight.
Oh,
so
awesome. Our
call it
kids are
that.
awesome. Super proud of our
Coach,
kids. I can't say enough about our kids. They work so hard and just super proud of them.
Yeah, well, Coach, appreciate you coming on and joining us again. Hey, I told you early in the year when we had you, man, we're going to find another reason to have you on. You gave us that reason tonight.
I love it. It's great. It's great. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you, Coach. Yeah,
Thank y'all.
Take care, Coach.
Yeah, that's Coach Jay Jones on the McCauley Landscapes Coach's Hotline. Real quick, I do need to say thank you to our sponsors, starting with our main sponsor here, Arrowhead Roofing. For 25 years, more than 25 years, I'm sorry, Arrowhead Roofing has been Texoma's trusted name for roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Local families count on Arrowhead to protect what matters most to their homes. When storms hit or it's time for an upgrade, call the team Texoma has relied on since 1999. Arrowhead Roofing, the exterior experts. And Macaulay, there we go, Macaulay Landscapes. For 21 years, Macaulay Landscapes has been keeping Wichita Falls beautiful. Whether it's keeping your yard green and healthy or transforming your outdoor space, Macaulay Landscapes has the experience and care you need to count on. Visit MacaulayLandscapes.com to learn more about their full range of services. Macaulay Landscapes, making Wichita Falls look its best since 2003. All right. Can't do this without those guys. Really appreciate both of our sponsors. A game that keeps standing out to me as it comes across the scoreboard real quick as we move into other districts. And we talked a little bit about the District 4-3 AD1, but hey, Iowa Park gave with playing for nothing but pride. But a rivalry game against Vernon, there's plenty to be prideful about, and really gave them all they can handle. I think Vernon is a top 10 team in the state, and they held with them. They end up losing 28-14 to Vernon, but hats off to the Hawks. Playoff hopes aren't there, but they go out there and give what I think is a top-notch team all they can handle tonight.
Yeah, they entered in on a 5-game losing streak too, so now it's reached 6. What's interesting is that Bowie Iowa Park game I think is going to be pretty good next week, and it won't decide. It doesn't help either of them to make the playoffs, but it's going to decide who makes the playoffs between Ponder and Boyd, unless Boyd can pull a major upset next week. It's basically if Bowie wins, Boyd makes the playoffs, and if Iowa Park wins, Ponder makes the playoffs. So. I expect that. I guarantee you, Boyd, Bowie's not gonna, is gonna have a lot of fight in him too next week. So I'm kind of interested. There's a lot of good games next week, and we'll get to those at the end of the night. But I'm kind of interested in that game just because I think both teams are gonna come out guns a bling. I mean, that's gonna be Raider Man's last football game. The Jackrabbits barely beat them last year on a thrilling, was it 49-48 or whatever it was game, that type of thing. So.
I want to get a little. Let me get one up here right now, just because we got the question about it and just happened to know who this kid is. Reagan Johnson asking about what about Munster and Collinsville. Munster makes a statement tonight. I mean, that's a matchup of two top 10 teams. There's Reagan Johnson right there, coach of a Munster coach, Wes Johnson. We know that guy well, but that's a big win. That was a statement to me of Munster saying, hey, this is still our district. They're still the team to beat in the region. There's no, I mean, they're
in the state
champs in the state. Yeah, let's put it that way. Any championship goes through Munster.
Yeah, and that score was 49-28, but I don't even think it was that close. At one point I looked up and I think it was 35-7 or 42 to, I mean, Munster kind of did what they did against Windthorst, and I think Lindsay hung around with them a little bit longer than Windthorst or Collinsville, but Munster's pulled away from all three of those teams, and all three of those teams are probably three of the top 12 teams in the state. So super impressed with Munster tonight. Not shocked by that, but kind of impressed how they got up on Collinsville because they played last year, and I think it was closer if I remember correctly. So a big win for Munster. Another team that had a pretty good showing, and this was kind of for third place in their district, was Quanah playing host to Shamrock, and I think we kind of all thought Quanah would win, but that they win 46-6. Pretty much solidified third place in that district. Real quick, I wanted to clarify something on that tiebreaker situation because I kind of figured it out in my brain. I was talking to coach. Yeah, so Henrietta could lose that Millsap game and still miss the playoffs if Holiday can upset Jacksboro. Because if Holiday can upset Jacksboro and get to 3 wins, then Millsap, Henrietta are tied at 2 and 3, and it goes to head. So Henrietta is going to go into that game thinking, "Hey, we must win this game." But if Jacksboro beats Holiday and they barely lose, they're still going to be the 3 seed. They're in a good spot in a 3-way tie with Holiday and Millsap right now.
Make sure we're still talking a little bit more about Nolan Clark's coverage area. Of course, I always joke he covers all of such a wide area from across the 940, including South Africa. I don't know how Cape Town did tonight. I didn't get that score, but anyway, Tioga gets a late win against Wolf City. That game was 44-44 late. Tioga scores, and that's I know Alvord mixes in there. I need to go look at those district standings exactly, but that shapes some things around. I think it helps Alvord out maybe to at least they got a share of the district title tonight. Now, and I think about it, right?
Well, yeah, Alvord's 5-0. That's going to make Wolf City 4-1, and
Yeah.
I believe they play next week. So either
Yep.
they're still playing for top seed, Alvord can win outright, or Wolf City can force a tie and get the top seed that way. So Tioga, I think, is still probably only going to be able to get fourth in that district because they lost head to head to Tom Bean, unless something else plays out differently. But all four of those teams have been really close to each other. Every game they play, I think, has been within like 10 or 11 points, and so just another good game uh in that district as well. Cape Town lost. Here's the question: Are we
Wakanda. That is a fantastic comment, Mikey Glad. I love it. I love it. Get this guy in here on the stream now. Look who decided to show up.
Finally made it.
Made it home even.
Yeah.
And you got 4 minutes right now to tell us about Springtown's win over Decatur, and then we're going to get Coach Casey Hubble on the show here from Jacksboro in a minute. But man, you had a shootout down there in Springtown.
Yeah, I definitely did. As you can tell by the score, lots of offense tonight. But yeah, I went out to Porcupine Stadium. First time out there. I know it's not my coverage area, but you think for as many playoff games that we see local teams play out there, I would have made a trip at least once. But great facilities, and it was home to a district championship on the line tonight between Decatur and Springtown. First half was back and forth, lots of scoring, like I said. Decatur quarterback Rise Reagan, very impressed with him tonight. He's just a sophomore. He was throwing lots of accurate passes, deep ball passes, to let alone as well. And then as I posted about earlier, wide receiver Wyatt Dunn had the touchdown trifecta tonight. He opened up the game with the rushing touchdown on a reverse, had 2 receiving touchdowns, and then Decatur's last touchdown, it was another reverse, but he passed it this time. So impressed with the Eagles' offense on the other side of the ball. I was even more impressed with the way Springtown played. They have a very quick quarterback in Kane Hill. He was not scared to pull it and find some green grass and outrun everybody. And then Springtown also has a running back by the name of John Anthony. I have no idea how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. But he is one of the hardest downhill runners I have seen play, and he loves to keep his feet churning and gain those extra yards, as well as Springtown's offensive line. Whenever they took the field, I was very impressed with the size they had, and the size also had physicality behind it. Not only were they able to make holes, but they were able to give Kane Hill plenty of time to sit in the pocket and find his receivers. But ultimately, Springtown was just a better team tonight. They ran away with it in the second half and won 63-36. So,
did they just get some stops? Because it was a shootout. I think it was like 35-30 at half, and then they pulled away. Did they just get a couple stops? Were there a couple big turnovers there that kind of swung things, or what happened?
Yeah, I mean, right before halftime, actually, as I was texting y'all that Decatur was kind of struggling to figure out an answer on defense, and right as it was 35-17, Decatur scored, made it 35-24, got a deflected pass, intercepted it, and turned around and scored 13 unanswered right before the half. But then it kind of Springtown kind of returned the favor in the third quarter there. I think they both each exchanged a touchdown, and then Rye Reagan's was threw his first interception of the year. Actually, I've been wanting to post that stat, but I know it would kind of jinx him a little bit. But yeah, threw his first interception, and Springtown was able to turn around and punch it in very quickly. And I think that kind of changed the momentum very heavily in that game. I also think there was another strip sack in there early fourth quarter that Springtown also capitalized on. So definitely lots of turnovers in the third quarter that hurt Decatur.
Well, I've seen a lot of Springtown and Decatur over the years. They were in Hershey and Burke Burnett's district, of course, for years. They've covered some great games between them. I'm glad your experience at Porcupine Stadium was positive. It's not when you're writing media, I'll say that. But
we have some hot takes that we don't have enough time on the show to
but we're not going to get to that. But we're going to bring on a guy celebrating what is a district championship now here in Casey Hubble. Jacksboro coach. Coach, first time I know you're here on the live stream. Appreciate you joining us, and congrats on that win tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, I took care of business tonight. We know it, but I'll let you speak to our previous guest. I know you're in the backstage listening to Coach Jones a little bit, man. I guess I'll give you a chance to show some appreciation to him and Henrietta tonight, setting that thing up for you. I know you got some business to take care of next week with holiday, but what's it mean to you guys to be right back at the top of this district, especially after? I mean, it was a tough start to the season for you guys.
Yeah, it was a tough start for us. We played some really good teams and had some key injuries that we knew we believed we were going to be a good football team, but didn't get the wins. So really proud of our kids, the way they continued to show up and work and fight and believe in who we were and what we could still do. And, been playing some pretty good football the past few weeks. And, the Henrietta game last week, they're a good football team. I didn't know, I hadn't seen Holiday live yet. So I had seen Henrietta live, and I knew that they had some weapons and could do some things. And I figured it would be a good game. But congratulations to those guys, and just looking forward to next week and being able to finish off, this district race and put ourselves in the playoffs and get ready to go try to make a run.
Jonathan said, Henrietta helped you out, but Henrietta also probably is. I imagine Holiday is going to be focused for y'all anyways, but they're going to come out pissed off next week too. They obviously probably felt like they didn't play real well tonight, and that's a very good Holiday Eagle side over there, very well coached. I'm guessing you're expecting them to be pretty pissed off coming into this game next week, just because they've lost 2 straight. That doesn't happen in Holiday, that type of thing. What are your thoughts on just kind of getting their best shot next week?
We don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about what other people, what their mentality is. We're just going to focus on us. We can't control anybody else, and sitting around thinking about what they're thinking doesn't do us any good. So we're just going to prepare to be the best football team we can, and the rest of it will sort itself out. But we don't put much stock in what anybody else is doing or thinking. We're going to prepare for that opponent and give them the respect that they deserve always. But at the end of the day, we're going to focus on us and what we can control and becoming the best football team that we can be.
Yeah, Coach, I want to talk about your quarterback real fast. He started the year, battled some injuries early on in non-district. Now he's been lining up. He's averaging 228 yards per game through the air. How has his leadership been for you and your team to go from 0-4 to now we're sitting here interviewing you as district champions?
Yeah, Wyatt is he's a very good quarterback. But when I describe him, he's a football player. If he wasn't our starting quarterback, he'd be a middle linebacker for us this year. He is a good football player, excellent leadership skills. The kids follow him. Nobody's harder on themselves than he is. He is very driven and wants to be the best football player that he can be. He's one of those kids that when he messes up, he's usually is upset about it and correcting himself before you even have a chance. It's been fun to watch him grow throughout the 4 years that I've been around him, and watch him grow from a kid that as a freshman I thought was just going to be a bruiser. This kid can play quarterback, and we run power with him all the time, and next thing you know, he could throw it pretty good. And then he just slowly developed into a quarterback, and not just a football player, but also a quarterback that can execute our offense, can run the football, does a great job getting the ball where it needs to go, and then ultimately the kids will follow him, and leadership is great, and you can have a lot of qualities, but if kids won't follow you, you're not really a leader. But our team does follow him, and he's earned every bit of it with how he handles himself and the preparation that he has. And I'm just really proud of where he's at as a player and where he's helped get our team to at this point.
Coach, I have a confession to make here. Um, we have questioned your defensive stats. I'm not going to lie. But then we asked somebody, is Jacksboro really getting that many sacks in a game? What is going on? And they're like, yeah, no, they had a lot of sacks. Like that's because I've had multiple games. I think I had you with 8 against City Views. What I turned at 10 last week against Henrietta. What are you feeding your defensive linemen and that front four anyway?
Well, we've got some good football players. Lucas Cornish leads our team in sacks. I think he's up to he had 4 last week, so I think he's up to 16 or 18. I don't remember exactly what it is, but Lucas is 190 pound, 6'1", and ran on our sprint relay last year. So he can move. He's got a motor as good as anybody, and a pretty good little touch of meanness when he's out on the field. And they just do a good job. We've got some good defensive ends, Jaron Lurson at the other end, and they've really figured out how to play defensive end and not just take the path of least resistance trying to get to the quarterback, but understanding how to contain and keep a quarterback in the pocket. And then that has opened it up for our other guys, Jokes and Delgado, Will Treadway, and Zeb Weaver, those 3 guys that have held down the interior tackles, have also, done a great job pursuing and, putting pressure on people. And I feel like our secondary has done a great job as well. And, whenever you have great coverage, sometimes those things can create, the quarterback pulling the ball down or holding it a little longer. And we feel like we've been able to get better in our coverage. And then our D-line has really stepped up and grown. And you put those 2 things together and, it creates some problems for the offense.
Speaking of offense, we'll talk about your offense a little bit. Obviously, Wyatt was coming back, but you lost Cannon, which was such a big part of your offense the last couple of years. Same thing with Luke Sams. And then your running back, who's real good, Luis Balderrama, got hurt and hasn't played since. But you seem to be able to – you've had some guys, Case Dennis, I know a couple of receivers really step up. When I saw y'all play against City View, you had a couple of running backs, so I didn't really know much about, run really hard. How have you seen those kind of skill players step up into the position they've been in this year?
Yeah, it hurt us losing Luis Balderrama. He actually had surgery yesterday. He was as tough and physical a runner as there is, and just a very good football player. And we hated to lose him. But we've had some other guys step up. Axel Salazar stepped into that spot. He carried the ball a little bit late in the season last year. We moved up late in the year and got some carries. But he has stepped up and done a great job. And then Lachlan Pardue, who had been playing slot receiver, he started for us last year at slot and had played running back when he was a JV player as a freshman. But whenever we lost Luis, we converted him to running back, so we had some more options. But yeah, and I think our offensive line has gotten a lot better. We struggled early on, we were playing Eagle Mountain and Peaster and Jim Ned. We played some of the best, I felt like just really, really good defensive lines that we were playing against. And our offensive line hadn't quite gelled yet, and they were struggling. So our offense was struggling a little bit, but our offensive line has gotten better every week. And, whenever that started coming together, Our run game started getting better. We were able to protect our quarterback a little bit better. Turnovers started to go down a little bit. We had a lot of turnovers early in the year. And, that really kept us out of several of those games, was just the fact that we kept turning the ball over and weren't able to help our defense out. But, yeah, our kids are just playing better. That's kind of the goal we have every year is, get better every week. And if you can do that, you set yourself up to have a chance to make a playoff run and put yourself where you want with seeding. And I've been proud of our kids for even when it wasn't going well, we did feel like we were getting better every week. And now it's kind of paid off.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you getting on here and joining us. I appreciate you staying up past your bedtime.
Yeah, I usually don't. I usually stay up pretty late, but we were done fairly early tonight. We got done. It was a little after 9, so I was starting to wind down a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I called and ruined your night, and then and brought you on here. No,
Appreciate y'all
Coach,
asking me to be on.
hey, it's always a pleasure. Love talking to you, and we'll let you turn in for the night now. So, but thanks again, and congrats, and we'll be keeping a close eye on that one next week. Big one there with Holiday.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, yeah, thank you. That's Coach Casey Hubble of Jacksboro on the Macaulay Landscapes Coaches Hotline. Guys, anything you want to note? Again, we talked a good bit about your extended area there, Nolan. I did want to show you. You didn't weren't on in time. We did get a score that's important to you there. So just want to
I
make sure
really
you have
thought
that
Cape
one.
Town. I really thought Cape
Yeah.
Town was going to be better than that tonight, but turnovers. Wakanda's going to be really strong always. So Wakanda
Always,
forever.
always, man. It's the yeah. They've always got that extra. But anyway, anything else before we move on to next week? Anything else stand out to you guys from this week that we hadn't talked
Well,
about yet?
Well, I have a couple things. One, Jacksboro, and he wasn't probably going to say it, but Jacksboro's the top seed is where you want to be in that regional draw because you're away from Gunner, second and third round type things, and it's really the region's not super duper strong. So like they have set themselves up for a manageable playoff run. Also, if Holiday falls to 4, if they beat Holiday next week, Holiday falls to the 4 seed. That's also you're looking at a potential. Like Holiday can win that first round playoff game for sure. Like it's
Hmm.
not even though it's a district champ, and then you're looking at a potential Jacksboro Holiday like on the same side of the bracket meeting in that third round. So I think that's pretty interesting. The other thing I was going to mention is, and there's a lot to unpack from Snapshot Day, and I think you posted a story, I posted a story, but Snapshot Day was today. Check out our websites if you haven't really caught up. But Isle Park, I guess, could be 4A. We'll see. Their numbers above what the cutoff would be this past time. Not a whole lot of other changes in our area. I think Knox City's dropping down. I think we both talked about in our group chat. Quanah's now the smallest 11-man school. It's been Monday for so long. Nothing too shocking in the area, but Salina's going to go to 5A, it looks like. Alito's going to go to 6A. I know a lot of people that played Alito through the years will be kind of excited about that. But yeah, it's just so that's always real fun. I think Ponder's going to go to 4A. Eagle Mountain, who's been in that Grand District, they turn in like 1,200. They're going to be 4AD1. Just some interesting
DeSoto,
things.
DeSoto looks like they're coming down to 5A
Yeah, well,
off of their number I saw.
They opted up to 6A. If it wasn't this
Yeah,
last one, that was
before,
the
yeah,
one. Yeah, so like
and
they've
they
been
still
below
can.
that cutoff.
So and but
Because they like to
six,
stay with that Cedar, but I think did I see right? Cedar Hill may be dropping too. I think I saw
yeah.
that today. I could be wrong, but like so maybe they don't opt up if Cedar Hill, who's right there with them, wants to go to 5A. Um, the a couple, Canadians possibly back up to 2A. Munster's going to be in that Division 1, Division 2 gray area. They're going to be right on the mix. Gunter, so we haven't seen a Gunter number yet. But if what Gunter has had like a week and a half ago, they had 386 like or whatever like that would be 3AD1. So it's not official yet, but I'd expect Gunner to move up, which is not going to make Holiday and Jacksboro and Seaview sad, Henrietta sad. But yeah. So, anyways, I just want to talk a little snapshot day before we look at next week. Y'all have anything before we go to next week?
No, let's look at that week 11, final week of the regular season. Loaded slate of games. District championships to be decided, playoff spots still to be decided, and this is it. I mean, for a lot of teams, this is going to be a last gasp. Other teams, you're playing for pride and trying to spoil something, but man, week 11, week 11 feels like playoffs, right? I mean, it really does. Like it always, everybody kind of gets into that mode at this point. If you're going to the playoffs or you're trying to get in, I mean, you're really just this is it, right? This is playoff football to a degree.
When I said last week we have a 3-person group chat that's always super interesting. But I did say last week, I was like, I think there's 7 better games week 11 than any best game week 10. And I'll still stick with that because you have Eagle Mountain Graham deciding second place in that district. Vernon and Keister are 2 really good teams playing off. Windthorst Petrolia playing for a district championship. I know Jacksboro Holiday's lost some luster now after that Holiday loss, but I expect Holiday to be ready. Like that's still a game that's kind of intriguing. Um, you got Legacy Memorial. Memorial has to win to make the playoffs now, and they should. So Lubbock Cooper beat Abilene Wiley tonight, so Lubbock Cooper's in. So now that everyone's fighting for that last spot, if Memorial can beat Legacy, they'll clinch that last spot. So that's it. That's an interesting game, and the second year of that rivalry. Haskell Electra decides. Um, Third place in that district. So a lot of stuff on the line. Northside with a huge win tonight over Bryson. So I think they're playing for a playoff spot next week. They haven't made the playoffs in at least 10 years or so. So a lot of very big games next week. In pretty much almost any district we have, there's at least one big game next week.
Take it 940 game day. Where are you going next week? I know it's hard to get you committed at this point. I know where you want to go, but what's on your mind?
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna be straight up with it, like I was in the group chat. Obviously, you have Windthorst at Petrolia, 2 local, 2 non-pro teams. They're playing for a district champion. There's 1 total loss between them 2, and that was Petrolia week 1. So these teams have known nothing but winning since then. The game I really want to go to is Peaster and Vernon. I don't know if there's 2 teams who are closer together in rankings and ratings and whatever you want to call it. That's going to be an absolute juggernaut of a matchup for the 2 spot in that district. In my region, if this game was in Childress, I would highly consider it, but I don't feel like driving all the way to Canadian. But once again, Childress and Canadian will be playing for a district championship. I know Tioga gave Wolf City their first district loss tonight, but they will be playing Albert, who is unbeaten. That will also decide a district championship. Then we saw Burke-Burnett get their first win tonight, so now they get a chance to clinch that 4th spot when they take on Mineral Wells next week as well.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things. I agree with it. If I had my way, I would join you and go to Peaster. I think Vernon and Peaster are 2 top 10 teams in the state in that division. Personal opinion. I mean that's me. I say there are 3 top 10 teams in that district. Obviously, Paradise is ranked. Peaster got in the rankings this past week. Vernon should be in there. We felt like Vernon should have been in there for weeks now. I'm going to be at the stadium. I know that's where I'm going to be. I'll be doing Legacy Memorial. Man, I'm a WFISD guy. What can I say? And it's easier for me to get home. I kind of set this thing up, host it, put all the, put that ticker across, type in all those scores. But yeah, I still look for it. I think this is. There's more question about this rivalry matchup than last year. I think Legacy obviously has improved, and what they can offer offensively they can turn this into a shootout, and I think that's what Legacy would want. That suits Legacy. What Memorial did tonight against Plainview, that definitely makes you feel really good about Memorial going into that game and that matchup. It feels like to Memorial is going to struggle if you can just push your will on them with a bigger offensive line and get real physical about that. But I think I don't know that Legacy can do that, and so that's really plays into Memorial's strengths, where their speed can kind of take over. But anyway, that's where I'll be. Zach, you doing Jacksboro Holiday?
Yeah, I don't. I
Seven.
mean, I don't know. I don't know now. That game kind of. I mean, I was gonna probably try to hit up some of Memorial Legacy and then some of Jacksboro Holiday, and they were right down the road from each other. So I gotta regroup. It's gonna be one of those three games between Memorial Legacy, Windthorst Petrolia, and Jacksboro Holiday. Um, I'm just throwing this out there. The Peaster Vernon game is a big game, but the loser gets an easier playoff road, and Vernon's beat up a little bit. So I'm not saying Vernon's not going to try to win that game because I know they are, but it's not like a bad game for anyone to lose. Like if Vernon has to barely lose that game and they're hurt and they rest a couple guys, it's a much easier second round playoff game. So just throwing that out there. But I expect that game to be a really good game.
Yeah, look, just I think the pride of it and being that 2 seed, and whenever you're going up against a team uh, that, like Nolan said, that you match up with so well. I mean, you want to show that you're the one. Yeah, nobody's mailing in anything next week. I feel good about that. Um, yeah, man. No, it's been a great week. I mean, Windthorst Petrolia. I'd love to get out that one too. I mean, people are selling, and it's easy right now seeing how Windthorst has gone through that district. Keep in mind, Petrolia stuck with them. What was that final last year? 20-16. I want to say, like Petrolia was right.
26-20.
26-20. Okay.
26-20, and Windthorst had a score with like a minute left. Um,
Yeah.
I will say we haven't even talked about Windhorst tonight, and I'm going to mention Brock Belcher with another one of his 7 touchdown games, and this is like his third game of the year, I think, when his touchdowns equaled his incompletions. So I think he was like threw for like 400 something yards, only 7 incompletions. Now he's at 43, I think. He's never thrown it more than this season high in touchdowns now, and he's just going to blow it out of the water. He's playing really well. Windthorst's playing really well right now, so impressed with the Trojans again. Electra's a playoff team, and that was 66-0. So
Yeah.
I just feel like the Trojans are better than everyone else in that district, and I guess Petrolia will get their shot next week.
Yeah. Get a chance to prove it, and of course, Petrolia, what they do with their ground game is special. I mean, what they've got, that two-headed monster they have with Brody Jackson and the Case and G is yeah. Those guys are rushing for over 300 yards combined on a regular basis. So, well, all right, guys, let's put a bow on this one. Thank you our sponsors again, Arrowhead Roofing, Macaulay Landscapes. We'll hear more about them as the stream is ending. Thank you for viewing tonight. Yeah, we'll get the comment in here. Northside versus Perrin. We talked about that a little bit earlier. That's a big game next week. Uh, it, yeah, lot to talk about, lot to see develop, and we're going to have it. Follow us all on social media. Get onto our Facebook pages. We'll be having previews and all the things. And Zach Duncan with his playoff scenarios on Red River Roundup. That alone is worth his subscription to his Substack. I promise. So
We're working on them as we speak. I'm probably gonna resend them out in the morning because I'm updating everything. But yeah, working on playoff scenarios throughout the night and should have everything good to go by in the morning.
All right. Zach Duncan, Nolan Clark, 940 Game Day. I'm Jonathan Holt, Times Record News. Thank you for joining us on Falls Friday night.
Tonight's broadcast of Falls Friday Night was brought to you by Arrowhead Roofing. For more than 25 years, Arrowhead Roofing has been Texoma's trusted name for roofing, siding, gutters, and more. When storms hit or it's time for an upgrade, call the team Texoma has relied on since 1999. Arrowhead Roofing, the exterior experts. And Macaulay Landscapes. For 21 years, Macaulay Landscapes has been keeping Wichita Falls beautiful. Visit MacaulayLandscapes.com to learn more about their full range of services. Macaulay Landscapes, making Wichita Falls look its best since 2003. That wraps up another edition of Falls Friday Night. Every score, every story, every Friday.